Okay, good summary. Okay, the hour being 6:31, we're a minute late. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome to the county commissioners that are here. And the first item on the agenda is discussion of the ambulance service in Sweetwater County. So,
Mayor, tonight we were just going to spend a little bit of time to discuss the updates from the committees that we're working on the ambulance services. We do have a couple county commissioners in here tonight that held executive session, so I think they have something to present. I don't know if you want to present it during this time, whatever. We can, well, I think we should start with that first, and then we'll have the committee reports from Ms. Bushman and from Mr. Meats.
There we go. I do have a letter to hand out. May I distribute that now?
sure.
This letter was approved today by the
Jeff, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Jeff Smith, Sweetwater County Commissioner. Okay. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you being here. As we work through the ambulance issue, I've been working on this for about 2 years, trying to find resolution to the ever-increasing costs and the difficulty of making ends meet in a business model that has been broken for a while. And so this letter was approved today, presented to our commission. Mrs. Tolman was also approved, but had to leave before she actually got to sign it. It was on letterhead. So I didn't want to leave her out and let you know that she actually did support it. But what we're proposing as the commissioners, we're not, as you probably well know, we on March 31st will have terminated the contract with Sweetwater Medics and Castle Rock Hospital District to provide ambulance service, at least the subsidy that has come from the county for many years. What we're proposing is a 50-50 split between the county and the two cities, with the cities then dividing that 50% on their side, 2/3, 1/3, between Rock Springs and Green River. While Sweetwater Medics has indicated that they will not be answering 911 calls starting on April 1st without continued funding, Castle Rock Hospital District has indicated they can go in the neighborhood of 9 months with the financing and the money that they do have on hand, and continue to provide ambulance service while a solution is sought. So this is difficult times, as we all know, with budgets, with the pandemic and the downturn in the economy. And we as commissioners completely understand that. We are under much the same scrutiny and pressure that you are as well, to spend wisely, to make sure that we're spending money where we should and not spending money where we shouldn't. And so we are asking that the community as a whole joins in together and is able to help us to continue ambulance service as we continue to work towards a long-term solution. Some ideas have been brought up. Many have been looked at. We have some ideas. I have my own ideas going forward. The committee has met and talked, and so there are viable options out there in the future, but we're looking at a short deadline here in just a matter of weeks that we need to address currently to make sure that the relationship gets off to a good start. The county, if we do have agreement with with budgetary support starting in July, on July 1st, with a new budget year, then the commission is willing to continue to pay both and support both ambulance services through the remainder of this fiscal year, which would be June 30th. If not, then we will be, if we don't have a resolution to share the load, then we will be terminating the contract March 31st. I think can turn it over to you if you like, or I'm open for any questions, but feel free with our committee member here.
I do want to mention that Bailey Doctor is here, CEO from Castle Rock, to field any questions that we may have. Like, again, we'll go through the PowerPoint slide that will be more prudent for Green River. Mayor, did you want me to go down there or speak from here?
Wherever you're comfortable is fine.
Okay.
You look comfortable. I'd stay there if I were you.
All right. Okay. Well, as Commissioner Smith has said, we've been meeting and discussing. So I've put together, between Chris and I, a quick synopsis of what we need to do as council and Green River. So if you go ahead. Thanks, Tara. And there you go. Decision made.
All the problems are solved. Excellent.
All right. So as Commissioner Smith says, just a little bit background history. As of December 15th, the commissioner is approved to cease funding for the ambulance services ending the end of this month. From the budgets from year 2017 through 2020, between both services, the subsidies increased respectively about 54.5% from that time period. So it's been very difficult for the county to subsidize based on those increases. So we're at this point, the budget for this year for Sweetwater Medics, just for your view, is $931,000. And then for Castle Rock, it's $348,000. That is based on the contract. So what we're looking at for our future, action plan is the phase 1 is essentially a now thing. So Green River and Rock Springs have to come to a decision to see if we can budget the remaining part of the contract, and correct me if I'm speaking, excuse me, from April 1st through June 30th. And it's about $44,000 at this time. And that is based upon the proration of the 348 based on the 365 days and taken by from the calendar months of from the time frame stated there. So essentially we would need to, again, discuss it and create a new contract between Castle Rock and the city of Green River for this time period. That's phase 1. So that's an immediate time sensitive. The phase 2 is that we are, what Commissioner Smith was just mentioning is that they would subsidize 50% of the 2021-22 budget with Green River and Rock Springs if we agree upon the other 50% based upon the respective contracts that will go forward for the next fiscal year. So what the cost would be at this point, again, Castle Rock is at 348, so our portion would be 174, which is the 50% of Castle Rock's budget. Rock Springs will have their discussion tonight to introduce that to their council. And then the phase 3, we're still ensuing discussions for long-term of what we're going to be doing. So we're number crunching and looking at various different options. So, and using SafeTech as a foundation of that builds the framework of different options that we're going to be talking about. So.
So are you saying that Castle Rock That's not what the letter says.
So I noticed that too. That was in the beginning of our conversation in the first meeting. But then after further discussions, we decided to look at Rock Springs with Sweetwater Medics and they're 50%. And then we did 50% with Castle Rock because we're in Green River.
Still up for discussion, apparently.
So
Councilor Bushman liked that idea. I'm not sure Councilor Tim Robinson liked that idea from Rock Springs.
if that changes to the 2/3, 1/3, we definitely would have to analyze the number of calls, do the matrix and just get it to a fine tune that accurate number.
And it makes sense this way.
Right. So the cost is, I put an approximate. So it's not set in stone. It's phase 2 because that's for the next fiscal year. We still have some time to do some research, number crunch. That's what we've been doing. But the phase 1 is the time sensitive one.
And in reality, as a reminder, if there's agreement to doing phase 2, the county commission has agreed to take care of phase 1, and we'll pay April 1st through June 30th. If not, if there isn't some kind of agreement before March 31st, that the cities will contribute starting July 1st, then the commission is opted out. Questions?
I have a question here. I can see here you've got all the money worked out, how the splits would be if it's agreeable with all the entities. What about your boundaries? What if there's a call in Jamestown? That's the county. How does that affect this? What if there's a call at Little America? That's the county. How does that affect this? And same way on the other side.
Short term, the boundaries wouldn't change. The working relationship between the two entities would continue. It's not as though there's going to be a hard line that Castle Rock wouldn't cross or Sweetwater Medics wouldn't cross. They've worked well together in the past, and we would imagine that will continue through this interim. The real savings in this, that's really the bottom line, is we want to have this service while spending the least amount of money. And all the recommendations that we get back are consolidation. There's just not enough calls in either area to support having two services. And so that's what we're working towards. What that looks like eventually, we're not sure. But in this short term, that we don't imagine that it will change as far as boundaries go and calls and things like that. Castle Rock covers for medics, medics covers for Castle Rock when they have needs. We would imagine that would continue.
I have another question. What if we choose not to agree? Then what happens?
Then it would be up to Rock Springs if they would like to pay the entire 50%. We're offering as a county 50%. Whoever would like to pay the other 50% matters not to us. But we have terminated our contract. We will be out March 31st if there's not agreement to have financial support from elsewhere.
And so what happens to the 911 calls that they get? What about the service if it's terminated?
They will not be answered.
So people will just get sick and die?
Apparently, yeah.
That's not a very good solution.
And that's why we brought this one to you. This one sounds a little better.
So what services does the county have? I know Rock Springs has an ambulance service and Green River has one. Do you guys?
We have none. We just pay the money. The county commission, the taxpayers of the county have paid the money, $1.2 million over that this year towards both the combined Castle Rock and Sweetwater Medics. And so we have no ambulance or funding. I mean, not funding, but we don't have any employees that do that. Those are the two ambulance services in the county, and that's who we subsidize.
So I'm assuming then if for some reason one of the cities does not agree, that the services would probably be privatized.
That's an option as well. We went out for an RFI, had 4 responses with proposals. One was private, and the cost is the same. It's about $1.2 million. So it's not so much a matter of, and it's private right now. Sweetwater Medics is private. It's not a government entity. It's a private company that has been receiving government dollars for many years, and that's part of the issue as well.
Anybody else on the council have any questions? I know from my perspective, I don't have any answers at all. I'm just listening, and we'll be discussing it, obviously, and we'll be getting back through our committee members. They'll be meeting back with you guys, and we'll go from there. And I think that's the way all these committees are going to work. We're just receiving this information. We're certainly not prepared to make any kind of decision tonight. Would that be true, council? Okay. Any other questions or comments for Jeff? Anybody else that's on the committee want to have anything to offer to us? Okay. Okay, go ahead, Councilman.
Yeah, I was wondering how much money does Castle Rock District put in? Do they put money in this deal, or is they just contracted out? Yes. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Go ahead.
I may already know the answer, but I'm asking it mostly for, if I don't know the answer, I'm asking for myself and for the public that may have the same question. Why have you decided to do this at this time? Why didn't you do it last year or the year before? Or the year before?
Sure. Historically, there was a subsidy that was going out to private ambulance services for a while. That was stopped by a commission back in the day for some number of years. For some reason, it started up again. There was an ask and it was answered, and it has continued. And the escalation has really been the issue. It was a 36% increase this past year in the request from Sweetwater Medics. And it went from up to $944,000 from 630 something. So it just became untenable. It's not something that we can continue to do without help. Now we can't continue to go down this road either. And so that's why we formed the committee, and we're looking at solutions long-term. Short-term, it's just not something that we can do. Personally, I've been commissioner for 2 and a bit years, and been working on it for about 2 years. So through the first cycle and then the second, we did an extension, just a 1-year extension, which is coming up. And that's why we've decided to terminate now, and we just can't continue on. We have to say we're finished and find another solution somewhere else.
Has there been that same increase? You said, what was it, 33% increase this year?
36% this year.
36? Has there been that same type of increase at Castle Rock Ambulance?
Did you get the same this year? Similar? Sure.
So do you guys have a contract every year with Sweetwater? Or does Rock Springs have that contract with the Sweetwater Medics?
No, it's the county. It's a 5-year contract that they came back in the last year of that 5-year contract a year and a bit ago, and indicated that they couldn't continue on with the subsidy as it was. And so we increased the amount that year, started looking for answers, didn't have any. And so we did a 1-year contract with them. And this was the 944,000 was the ask for this 1 year. So $77,000 a month to provide ambulance service.
So if it ends up privatizing, then you don't have to pay anything.
Everybody that will take this over needs a subsidy. Yeah, everybody. So whether it's AMR as a private company, whether it's the hospital, the Castle Rock taking it over 100%, everybody needs some subsidy. So no one will accept it. A private company won't accept it unless that was their proposal. We will do this for you, but it's also going to cost you $1.2 million. So there's not a lot of money to be made in this, apparently, but everybody wants it. Everybody needs it. And that's why we're stuck.
Great. Any other questions or comments from council? Okay, thank you, Jeff. We
You bet.
appreciate it. Well,
I would just ask for, direction, I guess, by our next meeting so that we can
right.
know where we're going and moving forward. So, and appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, we understand the time frame here and the importance of it. So we'll be getting back to you in a timely manner.
Perfect. Much appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks, Doc.
Take care of that leg, Doc. It's getting better every day.
Okay, we don't have to take any action here, seeing all these smiling faces. We're just going to wait for 7 minutes and then start our council meeting. Okay? Or 6 minutes.
Presentations, I don't know if we already told you this, prior to the travel and tourism update, we have service recognition for Denise from the PD,
Oh, good.
38 years of service.
She's not here, is she?
It's coming.
38.
38 years.
Okay, good, good.
You know, if we need to
I'll email it to you so we get that. Even if it's a draft. That's what makes me think it was a short-term agreement. My guess is there was
Okay, we missing anybody? Too bad. Okay, the hour being 7 o'clock or 7:03, whatever the case may be, I'll call this meeting to order. Let's have the city administrator and the city attorney lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Zimmerman.
so moved.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Zimmerman and seconded by Councilwoman Bushman. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, first up is a service recognition. Chief, do you want to wait a little bit? Is somebody, we can wait.
Yeah, let's wait and see.
Okay. Okay, we have a retirement of a police officer that has worked for 38 years, I believe, in the city, and we're going to recognize her, and she might still be showing up, so we're going to wait. We're going to take that out of order, okay? So next up is Sweetwater County Joint Travel and Tourism. Janessa.
Good evening. I'm Janessa Meredith. I'm the Executive Director of Sweetwater County Travel and Tourism. Thank you so much for letting me have some time tonight to share with you our 2020 annual report. The red bags that you have, the report is in there if you want to walk through it with me. As you know, the Local Option Lodging Tax Board is made up of 11 volunteer board members. 6 of them come from the city of Rock Springs, 2 from Green River, 1 from Wamsutter, 1 from Superior, and 1 from the county commissioners. The entire purpose of the lodging tax boards is to generate visitation to the area and hotel occupancy. The biggest thing that happened in the last year is we moved to a new location on Elk Street in Rock Springs. 1641 Elk Street, it's the old Burgers Inc. building right there across from the Outlaw Inn next to Taco Time. It's a perfect location for us as far as being able to stop those travelers on their way to and from the national parks of Wyoming. So we're really excited to be in that location. You can see there the breakdown of the lodging tax, how it was spent. The entire purpose, like I said, is to generate visitation. So it has to be spent on marketing and promotional efforts. So 76% of the lodging tax was spent on a marketing plan in the last year, 8% on event grants, 4% on chamber block grants, 4% on a block grant to the events complex, and then 8% on administration. And you can see that chart there, how the lodging tax has been collected over recent years. We're up just slightly over last year, collecting it at 4%. The block grants for the chambers and the events complex are for marketing and operational costs and staffing. That next page, page 4 of your report. So any event that's hosted in Sweetwater County that generates hotel occupancy qualifies for funding, either advertising funding or sponsorship funding. So you'll notice most events in the county are funded by the lodging tax. We also work to recruit events to the area. You can read in that report what we have done in the past, but most recently in 2020, we were able to recruit the 2022-23 state 3A and 4A boys and girls soccer tournaments. That's going to be 800 kids and their parents and grandparents, and it's going to be an overall $3 million economic impact per year. So we were really excited to be able to recruit that to Sweetwater County, joining together Rock Springs and Green River. It'll be hosted in both cities, utilizing all of our turf fields. Really excited to work with both of the athletic directors of the high schools to come together to bring those events to our area. I serve on or host a lot of different committees around the county. Those are some of the major ones. Also in 2020, we did a strategic planning session and a project which is called Destination Next. Many of you were part of it, filling out surveys for us, identifying our challenges, some of the opportunities that we have in front of us, and developing a strategic plan. And so that plan, the top 5 things that came out of that plan was to continue to build the brand, develop tourism products and experiences, support the development and retention of quality hospitality workforce, advocate for travel industry issues, and align strategic planning efforts with local partners. So number 2 and number 5 are what we're going to focus on primarily, but really excited to have that 5-year roadmap in front of us. We also do a lot to recognize the hospitality industry because we spend a great deal of money marketing to get people to come to our area. And if they have a bad experience when they're here, it's money not well spent. So we want to make sure that we're recognizing the folks in the hospitality industry who are really excelling in customer service. So we've done the Reach Awards for 13 years now. But this year we started the Sweetwater County Tourism Ambassador Program, the CTA program. So it's an actual certification. It's a credential. It's part education about the area and part customer service training. It's $39 per person. It's a 1-year certification. It's a 4-hour online training. We're doing them monthly now. If you want more information, there's a brochure in your bag. Board projects. So that's anything outside of the scope of our major marketing plan or our block grants. So some of the board projects that we did in the last year, we partner with KUTV2 News out of Salt Lake City. They come in the past, we featured the National High School Finals Rodeo. This past year, we featured award-winning downtown Rock Springs, some of the businesses, and we also featured our visitor center as well. We worked a lot on the Google DMO program in the last year. So as you know, when you search something on Google, Google is now providing you the results that you're looking for without having to go to a website. So if your Google listing is out of date, the photos are bad, it's bad information, it really represents our area poorly. So we spend a great deal of time updating Google listings for all of the attractions in the area. And we also can help a local business claim their business. We're not going to call you and play a recording over the phone, but we can help businesses claim their business and make sure all of their information is up to date as well. So if you need help with that, reach out to us. We helped fund the Red Desert Map, which is phenomenal if you haven't seen it. And the Flaming Gorge Scenic Byway. When I created this presentation, it was to announce that we had applied for All-American Road status. On February 16th, we were awarded All-American Road status for the Flaming Gorge Green River Basin Scenic Byway. It's a really big deal. It's a little bit complicated in the fact that what does that mean? But it means that we now can apply for federal funding to build turnouts and restrooms and walking paths and really enhance the visitor experience on the Wyoming side of the byway. So Utah, when they got National Scenic Byway designation in 2001, they applied for and built out 18 turnouts. So the Utah side, 18 of those turnouts were paid for by federal funding through the Federal Highway Administration. We now are one step above. It goes state, national, all-American road. So we're now the highest designation for a scenic byway in the country. We are only the second all-American road in the state of Wyoming. The Beartooth Highway between Montana and Wyoming is the only other one in the state of Wyoming. So super big deal. We'll be applying for funding for turnouts and moving forward with that soon. This isn't in the report that you have, but I wanted to mention that we are still building out the Flaming Gorge Tour. We were not able to fully launch it this summer. We did a test run in June with COVID. I'm hoping we can get it off the ground this summer, but really no guarantees at this point. On the next page of your report, that you can see that 76% of our budget has to be spent on marketing. And so those are a lot of the marketing initiatives that we've implemented. Our website at tourwyoming.com won 2 national awards. So we're really excited about that. It was brand new, launched in March of 2020. So we're excited about that. On page 9 there, those are some of the advertisements that we placed. What was unique to 2020 and unique to the whole world was, or our country especially, was we were able to receive CARES Act DMO relief funds and launch 2 marketing campaigns this year. We've never done this. So usually we spend our entire budget to market in the springtime to generate summer visitation to the area. Well, we were able to receive those CARES Act funds. And we not only did a spring campaign, we also did a fall winter campaign. Never done this before, which was really super exciting. I'll show you the video in one second, but I wanted to let you know that we launched that campaign in the fall. Our September lodging tax was up 28% over 2019. Our November lodging tax was up 6% over 2019. So it was really cool to see the first time we've ever launched a campaign and see the direct result of it. Not that we can account for all of it, but really, really exciting. This is a traditional video that we have used for the past few years. You've seen this.
In Southwest Wyoming, there's a path to adventure waiting to be explored. Experience our dynamic art scene, charming downtown events, and trendy hotspots in Rock Springs. Visit Green River to explore pristine Wyoming landscapes you can't find anywhere else. Put some dirt on your boots and hike to breathtaking vistas. Or discover one of our favorite ways to cool off in the summertime. Jump out of the car and into adventure at Lake Flaming Gorge, where it's not just about getting here, it's about getting out, making once-in-a-lifetime memories with the ones you love, and savoring the great outdoors. Don't just vacation, explore in Rock Springs and Green River, Wyoming.
I love that one. I talked about the CARES Act DMO relief funds. We also did a restaurant guide. We've never done that before. It's both digital and in print form. That's in your bag as well. A new travel guide. So that image on the left, the new travel guide's in your bag as well. It has COVID-specific messaging for safety, sanitation, and so on. Those are a few of the other ads that we launched in the winter. Like I said, we've never really promoted winter like this before. This is our fall commercial.
In Southwest Wyoming, a path to art, history, culture, and small-town charm is waiting to be discovered. We're committed to keeping our wide-open spaces safe for all. Remember to stay clean, stay safe, and stay informed while adventuring responsibly in Sweetwater County. Don't just vacation, explore in Rock Springs and Green River, Wyoming.
We also put a new sign outside of our new building as well with digital messaging about COVID-specific safety precautions, a lot of messaging around 6-foot distancing and so on. This is our winter commercial.
In Southwest Wyoming, a path to art, history, culture, and small-town charm is waiting to be discovered. We're committed to keeping our wide-open spaces safe for all. Remember to stay clean, stay safe, and stay informed while adventuring responsibly in Sweetwater County. Don't just vacation, explore in Rock Springs and Green River, Wyoming.
And finally, as you can see there on page 10, we always measure our advertising to make sure that we're getting a return on investment for every dollar spent, that we actually are seeing travelers come to our area and spend money here. So we also were able to expand this research in this last year. Typically, we only measure the effectiveness of our travel guide. We get somebody requesting the travel guide, they become part of our database. We reach out, we survey them, we find out, did they come, did they spend money? We were able to measure all of our marketing this year. So that page of all of the lists of outdoor, print, digital, everything, we measured everything in this last year. So we know that our advertising influenced almost $73 million in visitor spending. The ROI for every $1 we spent in advertising, there was a $330 return on investment to the local economy. There are a lot more stats on there for you to read in your spare time as well. And then the Wyoming Office of Tourism, they spend $250,000 each year on marketing and research to find out what the total travel spending is in every county. So they're measuring way more than we can afford to measure. So their results from the Dean Runyon report tell us that total travel spending in 2019, we don't have our 20 numbers yet, was over $160 million in Sweetwater County. We had over 600,000 visitors to Sweetwater County in 2019, 1.4 million overnight stays, so on and so forth. That supports almost 1,500 local jobs in Sweetwater County. Some of the top visitor activities you can see there, most folks are on their way to the national parks. We want to slow them down and get them to spend a few days here. Outdoor activities, wildlife viewing, self-guided driving tours. So as you can see, tourism generates almost $500,000 in spending in Sweetwater County every day, which is hard to tell if you're not in the hotels or in the industry, but it definitely is big business in Sweetwater County, and I'm really, really proud to be a part of it. So that's all that I have, unless you have any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Janessa? Go ahead, Councilman Zimmerman.
Just a comment, as always, very professional, Janessa.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
I think it's exciting. I think what you do is worthwhile, and I'm just thrilled to hear your report every year.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Anyone else? Councilwoman Bushman.
I just had a question, Janessa.
Yeah.
The commercials, and I'm sorry if I didn't hear that part, where are they being aired at?
The Comcast network of stations in Salt Lake City and Denver.
Okay.
So the History Channel, American or National Geographic Channel, those types of channels based on the demographics of the folks who typically travel through here. So empty nesters, outdoor adventure seekers, it's very targeted.
Okay. I would figure so, but very nicely done. Thank you so much, Janessa.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I would echo everybody's sentiment. Every year it gets better. The products, it gets more exciting. There's more dollars and everything else. So, and that Flaming Gorge, I'm going to get it messed up, but the designation was a big deal.
Yes, it was huge. So much
so-
opportunity for funding. I'm really
Yep.
excited.
Yeah, it's a nice work, Janessa.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
What do you think, Tom? No, wrong, Tom. Sorry. Uh-huh. Okay. So we probably are up to the citizen requests and other communications. Are there any citizens in the audience that are not on the agenda that would like to address the council?
Can we call her back in, have her speak for me?
Yeah. And just go ahead and identify yourself for the minutes.
Now? Okay, my name is Thomas Eddy. I recently bought the mast. And I'm here to speak about a permit that we applied for with the mast that was denied. And we're hoping that you guys will reconsider it and
pass the permit due to several things that I'd like to bring up. We'll start with the permit being denied because of the type of business. I don't feel that the permit should be denied due to the type of business that it is. I get that you guys have adopted an 18-month timeline with your businesses of such that have dancers in them, things like that. And once the 18 months pass, you guys don't really want to allow those businesses to conform the same way. You go to non-conforming or whatever, however you word it, right? The business was originally leased to a lady named Judy. This happened February 7th, 2018. And Judy was supposed to purchase the property. She never purchased the property. Instead, she came over to the city and told the city that she owned the property, got put on all the licenses, and that kind of screwed a whole bunch of stuff up for the original owner, who was Carlene Liu. Okay. She was supposed to deposit $20,000 to option her purchase, and she never did. She never gave her any money once she got into the building. One thing she did was tear it down. Okay. The building was falling apart prior to Judy getting into the building. Needed lots of work. The city was aware it needed a roof on it. I guess we've heard from so many people that they'd go in there and there'd be 20 buckets out catching water inside there when it would rain or snow or storm or whatever. We've done quite a bit of work to the building since I've purchased it. We put a new roof on it. We've gutted all the stuff out of the inside and just kind of putting it back in new, trying to clean it up, make it nice, something that nobody's done before. And we have no intentions of running the business like it was ran before. We would like to run it in a professional manner. I have another business in another state that is a strip club, and it runs very professional. We don't have problems that other strip clubs have because we run it very corporate-like. We do this because I have other businesses as well. I found through the past that if I run all my businesses corporate-like, they usually do pretty well. So with that being said, I think I have a lot to offer Green River in revenue. I want to bring some transportation services up here that could potentially slow down DUIs. If people decide to take the transportation, we're willing to do what we can on our end to help the city out, and maybe lower accidents, things like that, while providing transportation that you don't really have in Green River, Rock Springs areas. We do want to open it as a strip club. I bought it with the thought in mind that it could be opened as a strip club. To me, that created more value in the building. The building was pretty shot. When we went in there, it wasn't just a roof that was destroyed. There was a Mexican restaurant who was using the building as a septic tank. There was shit in the basement, 16 to 18 inches of stool in the basement, urine, things of such. We got videos of it. We had the city come over and put dye into their toilets and flush them and watch them come right through the drains. Later found out that they had cemented their drains in because they had problems with it. There was problems with the sewage years before that where Carlene had came in and tried to fix it, and the plumbers, I guess there's not very good plumbers out here, so they didn't really fix the problem. And it's just been an ongoing problem. When we replaced the sewer, the lines were completely collapsed. There was no functioning lines. And so all of the Mexican restaurant's sewage went into our basement for about 18 months. Okay. In the statute, it says that if the building needs repaired, that you are to allot time and to repair the building to get it back up and running. Couple things that I would like you to consider is one that needed a roof prior to any sell or lease to Judy. We have the pandemic. If you look at your timelines, you're 13 months from the time that Judy supposedly purchased the building to the time of the pandemic. Okay. And there's laws to kind of help those things when there's pandemics that take place and things like that to get businesses open. So I feel that the 18-month rule doesn't really apply in this matter, given the past with the building, the roof, the sewage inside the building, the pandemic, etc. And so we'd like the city to consider passing the permits under those things in general, because I don't feel like we can hold the 18 months to it. If there had been something along the lines that showed default on the previous owner or somebody down through there, I think that we could consider those things, but she's never once defaulted. She's had other people default her by trying to claim a business that wasn't theirs. And then she had to fight for it back. It took her, I don't know, a little over a year to sue for it back. When the city could have gone in and seen that there was never any recordings in Judy's name other than the license transfers that Judy did on her own. And so, yeah, I don't know. I see a whole lot of confusion. I can see where you guys were like, hey, we really don't want a strip club based off of these things, but in the businesses that have been there before. But I would like you to consider the fact that we're not going to run it like it was ran before. It's going to be professional. We want to bring a lot to the city to help the city out. We want to be active members of the city and portray a part in the community, see the community grow while running a professional business. And we're going to, it's going to be redone. We're going to do it right. We're not going to, it's not going to be half done. It's going to be done 100%. And it's going to stay nice. We're not the type of people who's going to let it just kind of fall apart and leave it to grow into what it was before. We're looking at long-term, not short-term relationships here, between the city and the businesses and the people of Green River. You guys, I guess, have got a copy of this timeline, so you can kind of go through it and see. And I know you guys are aware of some of these things that have happened in the past, and the things that have caused things to transpire as they have. There's no time that the liquor license ever went over 18 months without having it. It was something that she kept up on it. She tried to keep it, and so the business license says on here there was no business license for, I don't know, I read it somewhere, 20 months or something. Let's see. No. $25 months. It says no business license, but there was an active business license. Whether it was in Judy's name or her name or whoever's name it was, there was a business license. It wasn't no 25 months along through that period. I guess it just overall, as we look at this timeline, there's not 18 months that pass anywhere with any of these things. You're in your legislation. I can read the statute to you if it helps. That says that the repair should be considered and time should be given to make them. Let's see here. Under the 18 consecutive months, there's a paragraph here that states, the right to operate and maintain non-conforming primary structures shall not terminate if the structure is damaged or destroyed in any manner. Repair or replacement of such damaged or destroyed structures shall be permitted, providing that the repair replacement will comply with section 9.5 of this ordinance. Any non-conforming structure may be repaired or upgraded as long as the extent of non-conformity is not increased. like I said, just with the problems period that the building has had, the roof, really not able to operate a business. I think that was Judy's problem when Judy went in there, other than she didn't have any money and she ran it in the ground and did all her illegal things that she did in there. I'm not even sure. Those are just the stories that I've heard about it. The biggest complaint that I heard was that the building was, you couldn't really run a business in there because there's 20 buckets of water and you had to worry about getting rained on if you went in there. They had tried to repair the roof. Somebody tried to at one time. They put patches on the roof and went in there and put tarps up in the ceiling, which they did to try to hold the water, but that didn't help anything. It just made more of a mess. The ceiling was falling in when we went in there. We've repaired everything. And we're just looking to get our permits passed so that way we can get open, start contributing to the city, rather than to have to worry about, damages due to the wholesale, or due to timelines and everything else. We just want to move forward. And so that's why I'm here today. Just ask you guys to consider passing that so we can just move forward.
Okay.
Nobody wants to go after anybody. We just want to get open.
Okay, Thomas. First off, does anybody have any questions? Okay. This is I'm going to tell you what my position is and what I feel the situation is in this particular case. A non-conforming use, the thing you say is, it's the city's doing this. It's standard in every zoning law in the country. And it's a determination that's made by the community of certain uses that are appropriate in a zone district and certain uses that aren't. When the community makes that decision, when you have the opportunity, when a time frame elapses, you no longer have a right to do that use. We're told by staff that the 18 months exists and therefore the use is non-conforming.
But as you look at this timeline,
and hang on.
okay.
So I want Mark and Ken, if you guys would come up, go ahead and sit down, Tom, and we'll
Okay.
go through this.
Okay.
Okay, if you guys just explain to us what the position is, under the law and what we're talking about here from the city's position. We've got it here. We kind of know it, but if you could just briefly go over it.
Mayor, Council, Ken Yeager, Senior Building Inspector. The things that we look at and something he brought up is non-conforming use versus non-conforming structure. The structure is conforming for that district down there. The use is not. Going back in records, it's been 34 months since it's legally been open, meaning that it didn't have a building or a business license since April of 2018. During those 34 months, I've split out on that timeline I've given you, different times of when it's been open or closed. Obviously, since April of 2018, it has not been open. And as of this date, it's not open. Is there something particular you'd like me to explain on it or questions?
I don't have anything. I think I understand. I just want the council to have the opportunity to have the staff present any questions that they might have. Do you have any, Gary, you're looking?
Well, the only comment I have is I will not support a strip club, not in the city of Green River. That's my position. So I don't know how the rest of any of the other people are. They can, and if you want this, Mayor, if you want this suggested motion read, it's going to have to be done by somebody else. I won't do it because I'm not going to be in line with any type of a strip club.
Well, it's not for the motion as read. It's not for a strip club. It's for a bar.
I know. Somebody else is going to have to read it.
So anybody else have any comments from the, go ahead, Councilman Zimmerman.
As you all know, I work for the county in a similar position as these two men here, and it's the same in the county. Non-conforming rights are very precious, and somebody has to know what those ordinances are, or in the county resolution, they have to know what that is, and that's precious when it comes to like fireworks. When it comes to all that, these are precious rights, and just have to be watched over, sought after. It has to be careful, because you lose them, they're gone. Then it fast forward to what the zoning was and allowed in the day, to now you don't have that conforming right. You no longer can run that business. So from hearing with these men, I understand what they're saying. I understand what Ken and Mark are saying. And it's just one of those deals where it's something that we put on, our constituents, our owners, they need to know what those rights are. And they are precious if you lose them. And that's what I think we're up against here. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, so what other options? I'm gonna,
Mayor,
go ahead.
Mark Westonsko, Public Works Director. I work with the Development Services Group. As we examine this case, we recognize that there are a lot of contributing circumstances that have occurred over the last close to 3 years since this facility has been in operation. It's clear that it's not been in continuous operation for over 18 months. The reasons why that's been the case and the different people involved, we understand that there's a lot of different moving parts there, but it's clear that it's not been in operation for over 18 months. In fact, it's almost 3 years now that it's not been in legal operation. That's where we stand as far as the non-conforming use is concerned. Now, I know there was a question about a non-conforming structure, but as Ken said, the structure itself is conforming for that zone. It meets the setbacks, the height, bulk requirements, but it's the use that is the question. The options that are available for us to move forward as we see them is, one, the proposal could be modified to include operation of the facility as just a bar without the sexually oriented business component. That would be allowable in this zone. And that is something that could be moved forward. The other option would be, now that we're in a non-conforming use situation, the ordinance does allow a request for a special use permit for a non-conforming use in a given zone. That is an open and public process. It does take some time. It does have a multitude of public hearings in front of both the Planning and Zoning Commission and also the City Council. City Council having the final say in that. That is an option that could be pursued if the applicant wanted to try to reestablish that non-conforming use. But that would be, again, up to you, council, as the final say on a special use permit for that non-conforming use.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, you're saying that they can apply for a I'm just going to repeat what you're saying, just so I make sure. They can apply for a conditional use, special use permit for a sexually oriented business,
and that would be
in effect, which is in the non-conforming use.
And that would be up to you as council, as the governing body, to determine whether that was appropriate in that area. And it would be up to you.
Okay, and let me clarify something. When we acted on this before, when this came to us, we denied it because it was a sexually oriented business.
Which is a non-conforming use.
Correct?
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you, my personal opinion is I agree with Councilman Kilpack. It's non-conforming, and it's been determined by being non-conforming that it's not an appropriate use in that zone, and I'm not going to change my vote just regardless of what method comes up. I'm just expressing that.
But again, Mayor, you asked what the options are, and as far as we see them,
sure, I understand
those are
that,
the
and that they
options
have the right to pursue whatever options they have a right to pursue legally. Galen, do you have any comments on this? Okay. Council, what's your pleasure? We have acted on this previously. If we want to do something different, we can do something different. If we don't, We've already made a statement on what our position is.
Everybody knows my position.
Okay, well, I've expressed mine. Go ahead, Councilman Jost.
And I was absent at the last meeting, but my position would have been the same as yours.
Okay. Sherry, why don't you let us know what your,
So, my basis is based on the legalities and the state statutes. It was no business license. It was all in Carlene's name. And I think if it was done accordingly, it would have been done prior to that time, knowing going into that business, because it's against the non-conforming. It's next to a museum, which is violation, by a park, all these other things that are against that statute. So because of those things, I'm against it as well.
okay, Councilman Zimmerman?
Yeah, I agree with Councilwoman Bushman in that the legalities say that if this was a new business coming before us today, where it's at would not be allowed by our current regulations. So I can't see bending anything to warrant that. So I would agree with the rest of the council.
Yeah, and I just want to make a comment too, is in most communities in this country, the kinds of restrictions that we have in Green River by churches, by residences, by things of that nature, which is what the violation, why it's non-conforming now, across from a museum, things of that nature, they don't allow. It's not unique to Sweetwater County or Green River. It's a fairly common situation under zoning laws, I would argue.
Mayor, the gentleman down there had his hand up to make a comment.
Yeah, just a sec. Okay, thank you, guys. So go ahead.
What I want to point out is, Mayor, I can't hear him.
I can't hear him.
Okay, my name is Jack Eddy. I'm a resident of Sweetwater County. I live in Rock Springs. This is my son, Thomas. I went with him to look at the mast when he was considering buying it. When we went to look at the mast and he was considering to buy that was many months back. And when we walked down in the basement was spotless down there. It was dry. There was no sewage down there. The stuff that was down there was okay. It wasn't damaged by sewage. And the reason that it looked like that when we went and looked at it was because sewer and water from the city of Green River went down there and pumped that out and cleaned it all up. Nobody has asked the neighbors to separate their utilities until we came along. Nobody. That should have never been sold that way. Should have never been allowed to happen. At some point here, the city of Green River needs to realize that they've ingested some liability as well. We're trying to be good neighbors here. We're not trying to be bad neighbors. And y'all need to think about this, because there's reasons that this is the way it is right now. And it's not our reasons. He's got hundreds of thousands of dollars tied up right now, based on what lawyers looked at and said, yes, you can do this. He's got hundreds of thousands of dollars tied up because he didn't want to polish a turd. He wanted to fix something nice up for the city of Green River, for Sweetwater County. You know, we don't want to run a whorehouse over here. That would be against the law. That's not what he's trying to do. He's trying to make a nice, respectable gentleman's club over there, and he's putting a lot of money into it to do that. He's trying to make a safer way to have people come and patronize the business. He's trying to do things that are respectful and responsible. He has another business that operates in a neighboring state, which is Utah, and he can show you what he's done there. And he can show you that that place has had zero trouble, Zero. From day one. It's been operating for years now. There are no complaints, no neighbors complaining, nothing. You guys, you need to realize, I'm trying to tell you that if we'd have walked in that place and there'd have been 2 feet of sewage in the basement, he wouldn't have bought it. He wouldn't even thought of buying it. But somebody cleaned that up. And it was the city of Green River who cleaned it up.
I just want to make a comment because you're looking at me. I just want you to understand one thing. To me, a strip club is not a respectable business. And I will not, I want to make very clear to you, I will not vote for a strip club in Green River, Wyoming.
Well, nobody's gonna go
But
out on
I'm
the
only
street
one vote.
and grab
I'm
anybody's
only
hand and
one
pull them
vote.
in.
I'm only one vote.
Yes.
All you have to do is convince the rest.
What I'm trying to
But
tell you.
I'm not going to do it. So
Well, that's fine. You know, we all have
I
our
have my
right.
opinion.
He has the right to make a living, to entrepreneurship, just as you have the right to your opinion, okay? I'm not trying to tell anybody that he's doing the perfect thing. But what he will do with that place is to do it and do it right so that people can go past there and not look down their nose at the city of Green River. Nobody's gonna be out front grabbing people off the sidewalk. Nobody's gonna be dancing in the streets. It's a respectable place. I haven't heard any of you offer a counter of any kind. If you wanna make it a private club, so only private people can go in there, you guys have the right to work with us. You have an obligation to work with us. And I'll let Tommy have it.
Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Okay, so I'd like to address the fact that you want to call it a strip club and that you think that that's not a good business to operate. Okay, these girls are dancers. Okay, that goes under arts and entertainment. Okay, an arts and entertainment venue. That's a bar. Did you know that? That is a bar in Green River. That is an arts and entertainment venue. That's what a strip club is, as you call it. Arts and entertainment venue, okay? Because you want to look down on somebody and be judgmental, that just shows that you're biased, okay? That's defamation. The part that you're not giving consideration to here is the fact that the city has a whole lot of foot into this. The city came in and took a business from somebody and kept it from operating. That person didn't just not operate because she couldn't. She did it because she couldn't, because the city said you can't operate until we find out who the owner is. You cannot operate. So she had to sue and kick this other lady out when she didn't own her business, because the city told her that's the way that she was going to get her business back. They also told her that they wouldn't have a problem with her opening it back up if she won her lawsuit. She won her lawsuit. And then she sold the business to me because she spent so much money in her lawsuit, she couldn't afford to do the repairs to the building at that point to get it open back up. In our contract, she wanted it open back up the way that it was. Sentimental value to her. Okay? And so we agreed to do so. That's why we want to open it up the way that it was. We're not looking at running a despicable business, a disrespectful business. You're going to have less problems over there than you will any of these other bars in town. Guaranteed. Because we don't operate like they do. We make sure that the clientele that goes in there are respectful, or they don't come in. You guys really need to take a look at the timelines on this. All I hear is 30 months, 35 months, 25 months, 18 months, 3 months. You didn't even look at your legislation that the city put together. In that legislation, it says if it's beyond repair, you have to give applicable time, undenied. There's no line of time frame to repair. You just have to give the opportunity to repair the business to get it back going. There's not even a timeline in your statute. It says that you have to allow that to be repaired. And now you're saying you won't because it's a strip club or an arts and entertainment venue that he wants to call a strip club. I don't think that that's proper. I think that's defamation. I think that's putting the city at a lot of risk here for damages and losses and lawsuits. We're not looking at coming after the city that way. We're looking at getting our business open and moving forward. You've already cost us 5-6 months of downtime. We don't want any more downtime. We want to get it open. But we can't do that as long as you guys keep saying, no, we're not going to allow it. We're not going to allow it because of the type of business that it is. At that point, it puts us in a position where we have nowhere to go but to come after the city legally. In the event that that has to happen, I will. It's not my angle. It's not what I want to do, but I will. And we're not talking about small losses. We're not talking about the hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking projected sales over the next 30 years. We just want to get the business open.
Okay, I'm going to bring an end to this because we've stated our position. You've stated your position. We're not, I heard the council, we're not changing. So the answer to your question is can you have a sexually oriented business there? Are we going to make some sort of change to allow that? The answer is no. Clearly, that's the way it is.
You got to realize that place was there before the museum.
So
that
you
place
can
was there long
proceed,
before all
you
these
can
other things
proceed
came in
however
and
you
took
choose.
place.
And you can open a bar because that's a permitted use in that area. And we would be happy to work with you to have that business. You cannot have a sexually oriented business. That's the end of the conversation tonight.
Well, then how about you leave me with paperwork to have you guys serve? Because that's the position going forward. That's what we'll do from this day forward is it could be handled through the attorneys.
Whatever you, that's fine.
You've stated on the mic, you guys are biased, the type of business that it is, defamation right there.
I didn't state anything.
Yeah, you
about
did. You said the type of business that it was. As the mayor of Green River, Pete Rust,
no, I
you
didn't.
stated the type of business that it was that you wouldn't conform
I'm
to
not
it either.
arguing with you. We're done here.
I don't
with
need you to
this.
argue with me. And you don't need to raise your voice to me either. Okay?
We're done with this hearing. We've stated our position, okay?
Okay.
You've asked us, we've stated our position, and that's the end of this hearing.
Yeah.
A building permit for a bar is available to you. It always has been. That's the use that's available.
Okay, so you've already cashed my check. In an arts entertainment business, you're going to have a stage, you're going to have a break room, you're going to have all those things. So why don't you put the permit through? So that way those things could be taken care of.
Normal time for comments is 5 minutes. We come to the point where we're not making much progress here. So I would ask you to honor the 5 minutes.
What's that?
I would ask you to honor the 5 minutes for public speaking. Call it a night. Obviously, arguing over the podium here is not getting this anywhere.
Okay, so we're not going to do anything about the permit as far as allowing these things to be done inside there?
Again, what you have a right to do is you have a right to have a permit for a bar. That's what's legally permitted in that area. I talked with you about that. That's never changed. You do not have a right to establish a sexually oriented business. If you want to run a bar, you want to get going with that, you need to talk with staff and that can be done.
But you guys aren't going to put that through today, that permit that you guys check on. You're not going to do that today.
Go ahead.
It's going to require him to redesign when he's got things labeled as in that bar in order to put a permit.
Okay. Okay.
Mayor, just one comment. At the beginning of his presentation, he's the one that told us his intent was to have a strip club.
Correct.
And that's in the minutes and it's on the tape.
Yeah, we don't.
That was not our comment. That was your comment.
Okay, again, you have a right to rent a bar. If that's the permit that you're going to submit, you'll get that permit. you need to work with Ken on it. Okay?
Okay. Is this adjourned? Is it dismissed, or do I go sit down, or what?
Well, that's the end of,
End of discussion? Okay.
yeah.
Can I get a document with your city, with the city attorney's information on it?
Sure you can.
And then also, what do I got to do to get the minutes of the hearing of today's council meeting?
I'm sure that's available to you. We can get that to you.
Tomorrow? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, moving on, item 7, board committee appointments. Item A, reappointment of Barry Tippy to the Green River Airport Advisory Board. Barry has volunteered to continue serving on the Green River Airport Advisory Board. He's one of the original members. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve or confirm the mayor's reappointment of Barry Tippy to a 4-year term on the Green River Airport Advisory Board beginning March 1st and expiring February 28th, 2025.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Jones, seconded by Councilwoman Bushman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reappointment of Edward McPherson to the Green River Airport Advisory Board. Ed has volunteered to continue serving on the Green River Airport Advisory Board. He's one of the original members. Do we have a motion? Councilman Zimmerman.
I move to confirm the mayor's reappointment of Edward McPherson to a 4-year term on the Green River Airport Advisory Board beginning March 1st, 2021 and expiring February 28th, 2025.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Zimmerman, seconded by Councilman Kilpack. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Council action items. Consideration to approve a contract with Duty Dogs for the purchase of a trained therapy dog.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Tom Jarvie, Chief of Police, and Detective Holsgrave is with me. So in the last meeting, we talked about made a request to apply for some funding for a therapy dog program. Things move fast when people are behind a project. So we've already been told by the child protection team in the county that administers that grant. The grant's actually awarded to them, and then they can choose what projects to use it on. They've decided to use it to help us with the therapy dog in the amount of $6,000, which is the purchase amount. We also had a very young citizen who's been collecting his pennies for a very long time donate $1,250 to the program. And then we also have had a contact from another foundation within the county that wishes to support the program as well. So the program, as far as support goes, has taken off very fast. Additionally, Detective Holsgrave, shortly after the meeting last time, talked to the breeder that she had targeted as a potential for delivering an animal for us. And he had a particular animal he thought had the perfect disposition for this program that he had designated to another buyer who hadn't been contacting him. So he would rather target this dog. His name is Buddy. Perfect name for the program. So he would like to have us purchase the dog and then him complete the training. And that way we'd be able to have the dog by when? About June. And previously, if we weren't able to purchase this dog, we would be waiting into probably November, waiting for another letter and all the training incorporated. So that's why this contract's come to you so quickly. Fairly straightforward contract. Galen's had a look at it. I think we're okay with the terms of it. So we just need approval to move forward.
Okay, I have a question. Why June? Why does it take that long of a period to, I mean, why can't you get it next week. Yeah, I was going to say tomorrow.
So Buddy was born November 13th, so they don't actually start a puppy's
Okay.
training until they're about 8 weeks of age because
Sure.
of their way of their mindset. And so a therapy dog by certification is a very highly obedient animal. Buddy specifically, prior to us having the council, has already had about a month of training underneath his belt, and he has a specific temperament that we look for a therapy dog. And so what he has been doing since then, is continuously working him to get to that point. I did a trial run as an experiment by bringing in a small, tiny puppy to the PD, and it made it very difficult for me to train the animal and do my workload exactly the way that he needs at 8 weeks old. So that's why he'll be just about 7 months old before he is actually able to come to me.
Okay, that makes sense. So he's pretty young.
Yes.
Okay.
And the training is definitely very thorough and very important. We do that correctly, just to protect the people we're trying to help with the program, make sure that we have the dog that's doing the things that the dog is supposed to be doing. So, and that needs to be done by a professional who's done a lot of this, and Duty Dogs has. They started off by training a dog for their own son who has diabetes. And that was many years ago. So they've been through this, they know what they're doing, and we need to have them time to work with the dog.
Okay. Okay, thank you, guys. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilman Kilpack.
I move to approve the contract with Duty Dog for the purchase and training of Buddy in the amount of $6,000 and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Kilpack, seconded by Councilman Zimmerman. Is there any further discussion?
All I want to say is that's a great program, and I think that's really super that you guys are moving forward with that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's really exciting. It really is. A resource that we don't have. Yeah. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Item B, consideration of a contract for custodial services with Castle Cleaning Company.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Brad Rainey, Parks and Recreation Director. This is a contract to clean the recreation center. We've had a contract with Castle Cleaning for a long, long time. They've done a really good job. They haven't raised the price since I've been here, so in the last 6 years. We do compare this to handling this internally, and it's advantageous to the city to continue with the contract, in our opinion. Are there any questions that I can answer on this contract?
Pretty straightforward. Any questions for Brad? Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Councilwoman Bushman, I see that you look like you're ready.
Yeah. Sorry. I just passed it. So sorry. Sorry. I move to approve the contract for custodial services with Castle Cleaning Company for the recreational center in the amount of $60,000.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, it's been moved by Councilwoman Bushman, seconded by Councilman Jost. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. City Administrators report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just letting you know, we're continuing to go through the budgets. We will have our discussion points from all the department heads here by the end of next week. The letter went out to all of the community service for the grants. We did mention to them about the level of funding that we see as either being a reduction or at best a stable level from what we're expecting in our revenues. I've been putting together a worksheet. Mayor Rust will share with you, I'm sure, the tax dollars since he found it out first this time. But I will be sending out a spreadsheet just to show you where we are at. And while we had the 1 month that was here a few months back, that was the lowest, that went back to like 17 years, just going through the last 12 fiscal years, on our average per month, we're about $250,000 below average per month over the last 12 years. So, looking at the pandemic and COVID, what it's done, and some of the other things that are contributing to it, it's been difficult. We're is in our department head this morning, we talked about some of the other areas where we are going to be getting some revenues. I think the department heads have done a really good job about not filling positions, and we've already had the discussion about moving forward into this next year with that. So we'll have a better idea as we move forward on where that's going to stand. But it's we are starting to see some things that are creating upticks, if you will. And then you're seeing some of the mask mandates and some of the other things, whatever way you believe, but they are getting relaxed. And, even like Texas today announced the entire state kind of a thing. So I think, it's moving in that right direction, and our numbers are, of course, down for the state and for the county, but it is going to be a pretty difficult year. We're going to be very conservative going into it, just as a heads up. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Reed. Mr. City Attorney.
I have no report tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you, Galen. Let's see. We'll start with ladies first. Sherry, Councilwoman Bushman.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to kind of reiterate things I've been seeing on Facebook. But congratulations for Make-A-Wish that both Rock Springs and Green River raised $39,000, which is so commendable. They stated 541 pints and saved 1,600 lives. That's incredible. That's our community. It's great. And then kudos to Brad with Frostbite with 160 participants. I'm jealous. I just want to tell you that. That's great numbers. And just a shout out, because I'm just reading the March, just to give recognition for employee anniversary. I think it's great that they have this, and I just want to just announce and let public know as well. Chris Meets being, that's here, top 19 years. That's great. That's amazing. Tara for 13 years, Mark for 8, and Reed for 6. I just wanted to say thank you for you guys' service and being here for so long in the city. I know there is a number 1, Sherry, who's 29, shoemaker from Brad, but I just want to mention that. And again, if anyone is looking for work, please, go to Elwood Staffing. They have work available, like I said, and they have health insurance. Please seek them out. And also Oilfield Specialty Partners. If you go online, they have jobs that are in the oil and gas industries as well. So thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Sherry. Councilman Zimmerman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a little bit of news. Love's is open. I know you know that. Carl's Jr. is open. And I've eaten there. It's good. Yesterday, we finished Speedco, the tire and truck maintenance shop. So that passed yesterday. So, but if you've been out there, they're already just filled with trucks and business. It's a real good thing for our area. And if you've been in Love's, it's very professionally done. It's very clean. It's very bright. It's well done. So that's just a little bit of news. So I want to just commend staff. I think staff is very professional. I'm proud of our city. I'm proud of our staff. And just a shout out for Mark and Ken. Tough go around, but we know what the code says. We know what the law is. I appreciate you standing for that. And just a shout out for that. And of course, you know what I think about the fire department and the police department. You guys I'm a big fan, raving fan. Okay. Martha, excellent. I'm proud of the police department. This is something that's really special for us to have a therapy dog, and for Martha to adopt and take in another house guest. Just proud of the police department. We're really a professional group of people, and it can make our city proud. We have a great city, and you guys are all really part of it. Thank you so much. And Steve, boy, I just love the department head updates. Just don't want that to slip by. And your newsletter, I'm just telling you, I've had more information that I think I need as a council person. Steve, you've done a phenomenal job. I'm really psyched on that. I get all my information there, and I feel like I go out when the constituents ask me questions, and I'm more well-versed than I have ever been. And I appreciate that. And of course, we love Ryan's updates on legislation. Just to say a word on that, Ryan, I'm sorry, I'm going way long here.
No,
but Ryan, excellent job. I've had numerous people at the county, and I've talked to you about that, and you've allowed that. They're looking at this legislation tracker, and they love it. And that's the county that's looking at that. So great job. Great job, guys. If I left anybody out, sorry. Great job. Staff as general, just fantastic. I'm blushing and gushing all over, so I'm done. Thank you.
Nice job, Councilman Zimmerman, really. And we would all echo those kinds of thoughts. You know, we really are fortunate to have the staff that we have. Councilman George.
Yeah, since I've just been here a little about 2 months now, so just getting going. But that time I was really appreciative of spending the time with the staff, all the department heads. I still have to see a couple, but I just spent a lot of time with them, and they showed me all the things that are going on, what goes on in their departments and stuff. It's real informative. I really appreciated it. And seen some places that I haven't been in the city for my last round. So I really appreciated everything they did. And just saying thanks to that, taking the time and doing that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kilpack.
I kind of started the meeting off in a bad mood, and I'll tell you why. But I do want to echo what everybody has said. I think we have the best city in the western part of the United States, maybe the whole United States. And it's because we have good employees that are conscious and do a good job. And a comment about the frostbite, whatever it is. Now you'll like this comment. I got to the starting line. Sherry passed me, and I never saw her after that. And then I come in at the end, and he gives me, the timer gives me a ticket, and I looked at that ticket and I said, that's not right. He had me down for 51 minutes in the 10K. I haven't run 51 minutes in 10K in 100 years. And he asked for the ticket back, but I wouldn't give it to him. I put it on my medal, and I'm showing it to my grandkids how fast I was. But the Parks and Rec did a great job. When I woke up that morning, I wasn't going to run, but they cleaned it up, and actually the Greenbelt was better this year than it's ever been. So they did a great job. But the reason I started the meeting in a bad mood was I don't like what the county's doing. Maybe I shouldn't say this publicly, but I will. They're giving us 2 weeks to make a decision. And they've been working on it for 2 years. I don't like that. And I think they've, as it's been brought to my attention, they've probably got the money and budgeted to the end of the year for this. And so, or the end of the fiscal year. But they're wanting us to make a decision in 2 weeks, whether we do or we don't. And one thing in their comment that really, really disturbed me was, what if there's a a 911 call at Jamestown? Or what if there's one at Little America? And who's going to cover that? And I don't know what it would cost if Green River just took care of Green River and the ambulance had to go outside of Green River. They could build a county. The other question too is if there's an accident in the tunnel, who's going to cover that? That's county area. So I'm a little bit kind of disturbed in their approach and coming at this last minute, putting the hammer over our heads for us to make a decision. If we don't, they're going to just completely throw the thing under the bus. I don't think that's right. And so that's why I started on a bad note. And I'm ending on a good one. So thank you.
Thanks, Gary. So you guys are going to have to help me out here. Reed, Chris, Ryan. Sales tax, was it 647,000? Yeah, approximately. So not what we'd hoped for, but according to our finance director, not too far off from what's expected. You know, we had hoped for more, but didn't really expect necessarily to have more. So we'll manage, I'm sure. I just want to echo everybody in terms of, I had all kinds of comments from people. Nobody ran by me on the frostbite because I was home watching TV, eating ice cream, I think. But I was told by many that the parks did an amazing job of fixing it up as quickly as they did. So kudos to them. And quite frankly, in the last terrible snowstorm, they did a heck of a job clearing those roads. They were out early and got right after it. So the streets department did a really good job too. And for the council giving the staff all the kudos, I want to throw out a few things to the council. Both Sherry and George, as new council people, on their own took the initiative to go out and meet with all the department heads. I don't think that's happened. It hasn't happened in my experience on the council as the mayor or when I was a councilman. So good job for you two guys for doing your homework and going out and jumping right in and becoming part of the team and becoming familiar with the team, because it's not something that necessarily has historically been done. And I think what goes along with that is, amazingly, we all actually get along. We don't have any big egos that I'm aware of. I get communication from this council more so than previous years, which I really appreciate. Makes my job easier, and I can communicate with the staff and read a lot easier. They're seeing you guys come in. And then, as indicated by the Chairman Wendling, we actually get along well with the county and the city of Rock Springs too, and we're meeting with them and we're working on trying to work together as a community. So kudos to Sweetwater County and the leadership there, and hopefully we can get accomplished what we hope to get accomplished. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Jost, second by Councilwoman Bushman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Yeah.